Alrighty. Alright, hello and welcome. We will be starting our first build in the series, Realistic Woodworking. Um, and it will be a table. Now, I did try to do a mock-up first. Unfortunately, I completely messed it up. So, I sat down, drew some very basic plans. That way, I have something to follow and something to go by. The table we'll be making is 22 inches tall, or 61 centimeters. The top is 20 inches by 16. And I decided to go with the Imperial system first, only because, I'm American. There's going to be a lot of Americans watch this. So just for their benefit, I start with the Imperial, although I will be switching back and forth between Imperial and metric. One of the things I did is I bought this 5 meter, 16 foot tape measure. It's longer than what you're going to need for almost any type of woodworking project. I got this, so I wouldn't have to switch back and forth. I do have two dedicated tape measures. I have a 25 foot and an 8 meter. If you're pretty much going to use one system or the other, you just have a dedicated one. But if you're going to try and follow me and switch back and forth, you might want to consider this. The biggest problem with these, though, is you can only mark on one side. So if you're using Imperial, you can only mark on this side. If you're using metric, you can only mark on that side. So that's kind of the downside to that. But this project is going to be made out of yellow pine, utility grade yellow pine that I bought at my local big box home improvement retailer. For me, it was Lowe's. I was able to get two 8-foot long boards for $15.64 a piece. And I cut them in half, so I actually got four 1 by 1 by 4. That just means it's considered 1 inch. They're not. They're only about 3/4 of that anymore. And it's only about 11 3/4 inch wide. But they still go by off the old dimensions. So 1 by 12. So I got four 1 by 12 by 4s. I could have. They do sell one by 12 by 4s, but they're $15.32 a piece. So the 8-foot long boards were only 32 cents more, and I got two of them. And I only had to get two of them instead of buying four. So I really saved a lot of money. Alright, I did have to flip through until I found the boards I like. This board right here just has amazing straight grain. And the piece that I cut off from it, the other end, had almost no knots in it whatsoever. So I'm using this for the legs because the straight grain means there'll be less chance for warping or twisting, and I won't have to deal with the knots as much. I just like the look of this. So this board I'm going to use for the top and the bottom shelf. Okay. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your combination square. And the legs are ultimately going to be 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Because I'm going to glue up 3 pieces together. And when you take 3 3/4 inch pieces and glue them up, it comes to about 2 1/4. So I'm going to make these square. So I'm going to set this to a little bit, about 1/16 more than 2 1/4. So 2 5/16, because as you can see from what I already did cut out, it's pretty jagged. It's not a nice edge. So this allows me room to straighten it out. So I'll just take my pencil here, set my combination square on the edge, and then move it down. My left hand, I'm applying pressure in. Keep it registered against the side. And my right hand, I'm just going along with it to make my mark. And when you get down to the end, flip it over and then finish your line. You can use a marking gauge. It's a little bit slower because you gotta dig in a little bit. It does create a line that's nominally easier to follow, but it's just a little slower to mark out. So I'll leave that up to you. Next, you're going to want to secure your work to whatever bench you're using. Hold fast here, and for here I have to use a clamp. So I'll clamp this to the bench, and then I'll set my hold fast. Like I said, whatever you're using, you'll have to, if you're not using this, you'll have to modify it. Okay, I'll get my safety glasses out, and I got the saw that I put in the toolbox from last time. Like I said, and I take my thumb and I put it to where I need it, and I use that as a guide, and I just run the saw back a few times until I can start my cut. Now, I have a lot of practice doing this, but another way you might want to do it, especially if this is your first time, and this is a very traditional way to do it as well, is two-handed. You just take your thumb through here, wrap your hand over, and then now, as you saw, I took my other hand off to support this, so it wouldn't snap off. Now, once you do that, you want to take it out. And clamp this in your vise, or get it so that at least something can hold it so you can straighten this edge out. And my vise, I always put a piece of wood the same thickness That's what I'm working in. And to hold it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, one thing, for some reason, no matter how hard I crank on this leg vise, it never seems to get tight. So, one thing you might want to consider doing is having a secondary clamp here to help hold it. If not, it will move on you. Okay. Now, since this is minimal working, I just have the jack plane with the joiner fence on it. Normally, I would use my jointer plane to re-square this edge. Okay, and you basically just put pressure against the fence, keep it rested against the one side of the board, and you just want to put pressure, and then just rotate, shift it from the toe to the heel. And then do that until you have a nice straight surface. And I will admit that having done the other way earlier, you can straighten the board with the jack plane. However, it does involve a lot more work to try and get it straight than if you had an actual joiner plane. Now, to test it, first I have a level here. I just put it on the edge, and I'm looking pretty good. It's pretty straight. And then I just check square. And I'm good. And the reason you want to do that after every saw cut, it cleans it up and it gives you a nice straight edge to work off of for the next one. Alright. Now, one board. Okay, oops. Forget. Normally you would unclamp this first, but I completely forgot about it being there. Now, I was able to get 4 rips out of my first board. So that, and then since it's 4 foot long, I cut it in half. And that gave me 8 pieces that were 2 foot long. Okay. Now, so what I'll do is, alright, this is the factory edge. Factory edges aren't always square, but I'm going to assume it's square, and I'll just check, and it's not square. It doesn't matter because I'm cutting these long, so I'll be able to fix them after I'm done. So, take the tape measure, mark it 24. Take my square, put it on your straight edge, Mark a line. Like I said, for this you can use a scratch awl if you wish. Either or. And then just take your saw. Now you can hold it down or you can use clamps or hold fast depending on what you have. So I'll use my hold fast since that's what I have. Now you can use clamps as well. Okay. Now now that I have my pieces, because like I said, I got 8 pieces first. Did I get 8 pieces? Only 12 pieces. Oh, silly me. So yeah. So I'll actually need, I got 9 pieces now. 10 actually, so I need 2 more. Okay. Well, my math was a bit off. So once I'm done, I get all my pieces cut. I'll go through and I'll look. The pieces that are nice, straight grain, not free, I'll keep those on the outside. The pieces that have knots, I'll keep those on the inside. And then what I'll do is I'll take my glue here and take some clamps that I have here. Wooden clamps mar less. Marring just means damaging the surface, but these are a little bit easier. So I'll let you choose what you want. So, okay. So, now I'll look. I'll try to pick pieces that I think look nice together, that the grain matches up. This is called grain matching. When I think I see what I want, I know those are the pieces I'm going to use. Also, if there's any cup, like this one has a slight cup this way, I make sure I put the bow on the outside. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll apply the glue. Making sure that I don't have any dust or anything like that on. Now you can use this or the roller bottle, or you can just use a regular old bottle glue and then spread it out yourself. It's all good. I'm just using Elmer's carpenter's glue that you can pick up anywhere. Like I said, I try not to use any fancy glues or epoxies or anything like that. I want you to be able to do these depending on what you have. You know, just go out to Lowe's or Home Depot or, you know, Ace or wherever. Okay. Okay, once you got the glue spread out, okay, make sure, once again, clean and any defects or knots kept to the outside. And all of your good edges on one side. And that way they'll all act as your reference. This will now form your reference side. Okay? And this will be what you square to whenever you take these to final dimension. Okay? Hand screw, wooden hand screw clamps, just open them up like this. And then just close them up. That's good. Good. Okay. Yep. Here we go. Make sure nothing moves. If it does move, just makes it tick. This is where you just want to make sure you take your time and do it right. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Next up, and I'm just going to use one of these for expedience sake. Okay. Make sure this is all good. This is all good. Everything's still nice and flush. Okay. Alright. Now, when you clamp these up, make sure you clamp them. The jaws are as parallel as possible. If they're not parallel, they won't tighten as much as they should. It can actually cause things to move, and you may not want that. Okay. A little gentle persuasion. Get things lined up is necessary. Now, like I said, these are a bit oversized, both in length and width, but just a bit. Okay, and don't take that for granted, because it's very easy. Think you can take something out later and then realize you don't have the room for it, and then you're undersized. Okay. And you'll go through and do that for all 4 legs. Alright. Now there is a joint for the top skirting where if you wanted to square up all the pieces before you glued them together, you could actually cut out, pre-cut a notch in your center one. So your one skirt could slot in later instead of chiseling it out. That is an option. For me personally, I just like getting things together and then squaring it up as one single piece. I don't mind chiseling out that much. But that is another option. So, those are the legs. I'll go over squaring them up and getting them to the proper dimensions in the next video. And I look forward to seeing you then. And finally, I just want to give a shout out to my son Josh, who volunteered to hold the camera for me today. So thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
Love you, Boo Bear.
I love you too.
All right. And I think what I'm going to do is he's getting my other YouTube channel, and I think I'll just leave his stuff up on mine. That way he can keep his views and stuff for those. But then every other video he shoots from now on will be on that, and that'll be his dedicated channel. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.